This is not a partisan issue. This is not a liberal versus conservative versus NDP versus bloc issue. This is a national election issue. So this doesn't benefit one party over the other. This benefits Canadians when we're trying to vote. Ladies and gentlemen, after weeks of waiting, we are finally excited to announce that our petition against the longest ballot committee is now live. You'll be able to find the link in the description and the first comment on this video in order to actually go there and sign it. Now, for those of you not familiar with what this is, we have created a petition against the longest ballot committee because we, as well as many other Canadians across the country, are sick and tired of this little organization causing mass disruption during by-elections and during the federal election. If you remember last year at the Toronto St. Paul's by-election, there was over 80 candidates on the ballot, and what that did is it caused problems for people voting. They couldn't find their candidate. They had issues folding the paper because the ballot was over a meter long. That caused many more ballot boxes to be needed because you had that much more paper per ballot that people had to squeeze into these ballot boxes. And it also caused the counting to run until almost 4 in the morning, which led to a delayed result.
We were able to obtain a life-size copy of this ballot so that we could show you exactly how big it is. Look at the size of this thing. This is 3 feet long and about a foot wide. This is huge.
And this is what voters actually were having to deal with on that day. And this completely explains why it would have taken Elections Canada so freaking long to actually count the ballots. You have to use this.
Right, and it has 2 columns, you can see, which is very unusual for a ballot. They actually had to go against what Canada Elections Act was saying in terms of how ballots are supposed to be written. And they came up with this monstrosity of a ballot. It's huge.
We saw the same thing in LaSalle, Armagh, Verdun. We saw the same thing in Pierre's riding in Carleton. So this is just a bunch of people that are not happy with the first past the post system, and they seem to have just turned this into kind of a joke and a gimmick, and it's making a mockery of our elections.
Now, to clarify, we do believe in peaceful protest, absolutely, but when you are impeding the rights of other Canadians, it becomes an issue. So instead of making a mockery of our elections, we would encourage the longest ballot committee to take their grievances up with the government itself, because they're the ones that will be able to change the first past the post system, instead of creating these extra long ballots and impeding Canadians' right to vote.
Well, and that's the thing. They're taking their protest to Elections Canada. Imagine if you wanted to, I don't know, eliminate taxes, and instead of actually protesting the government, you went and protested the fire department. It doesn't make sense. That's the wrong person to actually protest against your taxes in the organization. So what we did is we did some research, and we have put together a petition that doesn't just call for the longest ballot committee to stop, because that's not going to do anything. We're actually recommending specific changes to the Elections Canada Act in order to prevent the longest ballot committee and any others that may want to imitate them from actually doing what they're doing. So let's take a look. So the petition reads, whereas the Canada Elections Act permits unlimited candidate nominations per riding with no requirement to demonstrate a genuine intent to serve if elected. Whereas coordinated mass candidacies have disrupted recent elections with 91 candidates on the 2025 Carleton ballot, 82 candidates on the 2024 Toronto St. Paul's ballot, and 84 candidates on the 2024 LaSalle Armagh Verdun ballot. Whereas excessive ballots create accessibility barriers for voters with disabilities, potentially infringing charter rights, Section 3, the right to vote, and Section 15, equality under the law. And whereas the Chief Electoral Officer formally warned in a November 21st, 2024 letter to the Minister of Democratic Institutions that such tactics, quote, pose a risk to the integrity of the electoral process, end quote, and recommended legislative reform, we, the undersigned citizens and residents of Canada, call upon the Government of Canada to introduce and fast-track a government bill to amend the Elections Canada Act to prevent coordinated mass candidacies designed to disrupt the voting process by amending Section 66 to require that each candidate's nomination include 100 unique signatures from electors in the riding, or 50 in designated regions. So what that means is, right now, there's not a strict requirement that all of the candidates that are registering as candidates for an election have to have different signatures. The only real sticking point is that you need 100 signatures from people that live in the riding. So one of the rumors that we've heard that the Longest Ballot Committee is actually doing is they're getting their signatures, photocopying that paper multiple times for the amount of candidates that they need, and then they're actually filling in the candidate name.
Now, that's just a rumor, but it could be a possibility as to why this is getting done so quickly.
Right. Next, it says 50 in designated regions. Well, for some of the much smaller ridings with smaller population, this is where that adjustment needs to be made, and it will align with the Elections Canada Act. Moving on. Also adding a candidate declaration of intent stating A, the intent to serve if elected, B, the intent to actively campaign, C, that they understand their legal obligation, D, that all information provided is accurate and truthful, and create a new offense under Part 19 for knowingly making a false declaration, punishable by a fine of up to $2,000.
So this petition is open today, which is June the 12th of 2025, and it will remain open for signature until July the 12th of 2025. We want to say a very special thank you to our new MP, Ned Keurig, for sponsoring this petition for us. So please make sure you click the link in the description, and also the link is available in the pinned comment on this video. When you sign the petition, you will receive an email from the House of Commons asking you to verify your email address. Please open that email and click the link inside. If you don't see that email within about 5 to 10 minutes, check your junk folder. You do need to click that link inside the email for your signature to count towards this petition. If you share an email address with somebody, like perhaps your spouse, you will not be able to sign it twice. You have to have one person per email address. And also, if you are an individual who has more than one email address, you also will not be able to sign it multiple times. It's one email address per signature per person.
And we look forward to the tens of thousands of signatures that we hope to get, maybe even hundreds of thousands on this petition, to let everybody know that this is not a partisan issue. This is not a liberal versus conservative versus NDP versus Bloc issue. This is a national election issue. So this doesn't benefit one party over the other. This benefits Canadians when we're trying to vote. So get out there, sign the petition. Please share it. Please let people know that this is in the interest of all Canadians when voting. And we look forward to seeing Ned Keurig, MP for Hamilton East Stony Creek, rise in the House to read this when the petition actually closes.